Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm a naturalist, an illustrator, and also an educator. And I really enjoy teaching how to draw flowers in proportion and very realistic. They have an illustrated look to them. I'm interested in knowing the flower better by drawing it. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I use a technique for drawing this poppy in a pretty good proportion and learning about the poppy as I go along. So drawing for learning is part of my story. All right, so I start with using a pencil and an eraser. And I organize my page. I provide a grid. Also, this is going to be the grid for the bloom part of the flower. And I do that when I have a flower. It's wonderful because I can set up this grid, which is a rectangular shape. I'm doing this freehand. These are just guides. So I have my grid. In that grid, I go corner to corner to find the center. And then I also do up and down, a vertical divide and a horizontal divide. With this divide, the horizontal and the vertical, along with this diagonal, I can look and see how this flower fits into this shape. First thing I'm going to do, and I'm actually going to trace this, I'm going to trace the outside edge of the flower. I'm also going to see that the center of the flower is in the middle. So this is going to become a very important point for me, along with this side. So right away, when I add my, again, still in pencil lines, I'm going to use this grid and going to create this oval right here, the center oval. Often I'll start in the center. And then this also has it has these beautiful details in here. And again, I'm a little cattywampus there, but I'm not going to worry about it because my next step will be coming back in marker. So right now I'm getting the pencil guides of the flower. Got my center, and I'm going to start. Here is another center right here where this, starting right with this petal right there. Put this at a point. I'm going to add this bottom one here, which is a little bit what we call foreshortened, so the shape's a little different. I'm going to put this one in here. You notice I'm sort of doing, there's a little bit of the center ones. This is also foreshortened. And then I can add in between. Here's another one here. Here's another one. I'm putting this one in right here. Okay. So I'm getting the ones closest to the center first. I'm noticing how they overlap, how they fit in, and then here's my last one. Okay, so the next step for me is to add ink to this flower. I'm not going to lose the flower too far because I'm going to continue to look at it and adjust it as I go. I often use a fine line black marker, and most of the time for myself, I have invested in a fountain pen, and I use a pen because I actually use a lot of ink, and I find that I can go through a marker pretty darn quickly. So this has been helpful for me. I'm using a black ink right now. Sometimes I use sepia brown. Again, look, I'm starting right from the center, and I'm going to get a couple of these details in lieu of time. I'm not going to put all of these in here, but I just wanted to show you that I'm right on top of that pencil. Notice that pencil's still there. It will disappear soon, but not right now. So I would go ahead and finish this out. I would also, there's a beautiful center pattern here that's dots. So there's my middle. Again, I'm going to use the same rhythm with adding the petals. This time I think this petal is too narrow here. So I'm going to curve it out more. I'm going to try to point it more. So I adjusted this very carefully, or with noticing from my pencil drawing. But my pencil drawing was very helpful as a guide. I'm going to adjust this a little bit too. I'm going to give this a point. It has a little bit of a curve here. Here's this one that we call foreshortening. It's got a front and it also shows a little bit of the back. So that's a little bit different. I'm going to add this one in. This one back here, I'm going to work to have that, there's my point, show back here. I didn't do such a good job with that. See what I can do here now. This one is interesting. Notice I'm getting down an extra curve because it's showing some of the back. That's how I get that, it's kind of a little bit of a lip. Here's one that's tucked in the back, overlapping a little bit. This is way overlapping, but I missed that point and I didn't quite get that curve. I was chatting. And let me get this. I want to change the shape just a little bit here. So now I have, that's a little odd. I may just give that a turn there. I just gave a little artistic rendering, a little bit of a flip there. So I now have the flower. I'm going to let my ink dry before I erase, and now I'm going to look at the stem and the leaf. The leaves are what are called attached to the stem. They're called whorled because they're attached on the same level and go in a circle. This is called whorled leaves. These are lobed in their shape because they're cut in. So I'm having fun learning some of the technical names and biology. So I'm going to go back to my flower, and this time I'm not going to use a grid. I'm just going to sketch because I feel comfortable getting this width here. I've got the flower right here, and I'll add a little of this, the leaves that are in front, so that let's see. There's also this leaf here. Again, pencil works great because I can come back and I can shift it if I want to, whatever needs to happen. So then I'm going to sneak this stem through here. Okay, it looks like it's a little bit here. I love having an eraser. Great. So now let me go up. I'm pretty sure I'm good to erase here, and then I'll add marker to the stem and the leaf. It's kind of nice to pause sometimes and relook at something, like I'm focusing on erasing and refocusing on the stem and the leaf, just to kind of give myself a chance to, I think it was a little thick, so I'm going to thin this down a little bit. I'm not going to erase that double line because I'm going to work really hard to remembering why it's there. Okay, still holding my, actually I want this leaf to come, I'm sorry, come out from here, up a little bit and back and around. It covers, got a little bit of a mess there, but I might be able to figure that out as I go along. This leaf here, I'm getting a little bit more correct detail, or more realistic detail now that I have, this does a really funky thing here. These are actually in three or four lobes, and they're all curled under, so I'm doing what I can to give that curled under flavor. This certainly could have been done with pencil first. You can see I'm freehanding this. I've been doing this for a while, so I'm comfortable with my freehanding. That's certainly not, all of this could be done in pencil first. I'm going to add a couple of lines here to help me remember what's going on. Good. Now, I'm going to notice I just take my point and I'm going to follow it down here. Great, this curves a little, and actually, poppies apparently are pretty curvy. I missed that, which it's unfortunate. Excuse me. I do like to do as much as the unique details as I can when I do a drawing. So that's part of my objective. All right, so here's our poppy, excuse me. It's a poppy. I've actually been working with pansies too. I live in a winter climate and we're moving towards spring, so I'm moving from pansies. Okay. All right, I'll also add an edge to the bottom of this, usually where it might have been cut. So what will happen next with the poppy is I'll add some details, which will be the lines, the thinner lines, the veins that are part of the character of the flower. This adds a darker value. The texture helps add a value. I'll work close to the middle, make that darker. Notice I'm doubling up there. So I'll start with some bigger ones and then longer ones, then some shorter ones. Just letting the eye see each petal easier. I'm working pretty lightly, as light as I can. Your markers come in different thicknesses. So often your outside line could be a thicker line, perhaps a higher number or a higher letter. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to darken up. Let me take another look here. I like to look a little bit more carefully. What's happening here? I'm probably going to keep the center area light. Now that I've stepped back and looked, that it's best to see. So I'm looking at the values. Keeping this area here light is going to be important. So I'm going to pause there. Even though that there are dots in there and there's actually even a pattern in there that's beautiful, for the viewer to see this best, and the way I'm looking at this is to have that center be dark. So those are the kinds of things that I think about and try to step back. I'm going to darken those little dots. I'm going to have to get to know the name of that. Leaves often have noticeable veins. Sometimes I look to see how they they don't usually crisscross, but how they. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but there is a vein that goes up into here, and up into there. So let me see if I can do that and speak clearer. This probably does this type of thing. Notice how as I get the veins in here and add some value, I'm going to go back here and make this darker in the center area. Okay, so without color does a beautiful job giving you lights and darks and shadows, and I'm just going to work, I'm going to pretend there's a shadow there. I'm working here to give a darker value. Notice I'm curving my line so that the stem can look like it's curved. So we get an opportunity as we do our drawings to do that for the audience. I still have that blob right there. Could just maybe incorporate it in here. Remember, I had a little mistake there. Good. Okay, well, this is today's lesson with a poppy, and I appreciate you watching, and hopefully we'll continue this story and look at drawing some other flowers. Thank you.